Family secrets are spilling out.
I need my daddy.
A teenager with a strange demeanor.
She's clutching a teddy bear.
How can she be actually 18 years of age?
And an even stranger story about her missing mother.
I didn't know Bonnie was going to go missing.
Something happened to her. She didn't just disappear on her own free will.
So you knew something was really wrong?
Pretty much.
Has she ever disappeared before?
No.
Whoever has my sister, please let her go.
Maybe somebody saw her somewhere at a bus station, at a train station, in a cab, at the mall.
Nathan, you've agreed to walk us through a few areas. We're running out of time.
He said, at times I feel like I have the devil living inside me.
Turns out Bonnie wasn't the only missing person in that household.
Police in Alton need the public's help finding a missing woman. Bonnie Woodward was last seen Friday afternoon.
It's a missing persons case that will confound an Illinois community,
I didn't see anything.
flooding seasoned investigators with no shortage of witnesses.
And then possibly tried to get rid of her, you know.
These interviews happening in this room right here, focusing on one person, one mother of four, whose sudden and perplexing disappearance sets off alarm bells. It all started at the end of a day's shift, one afternoon in June.
Bonnie Woodward got off around 3 p.m. that day. She was working at what was called Unismith Nursing Home here in Alton. It was a normal day of work for her.
47 years old, worked at the nursing home for over 25 years, I believe, and just a woman who was reliable.
Being a nurse's aide that's a lot of caregiving.
She did it forever. She loved what she did.
She went to work, she worked her shift, and then would come home to her children every night, as well as Gary Wilmerth, who she was dating at the time.
Gary knew that she had some sort of staff meeting after work from 2 to 3, so he really wasn't expecting her home until, 3:34.
That boyfriend, Gary Wilmerth, says he tries getting a hold of Bonnie around 4 o'clock. But his call goes straight to voicemail.
Your call has been forwarded to an automatic voice message system.
Because everybody was like, she would call if she was 5 minutes
Oh
late.
no, everything she did was on a schedule.
Nobody had seen her. This was very abnormal for Bonnie. She was always in communication with her family.
After she didn't return home, her family members, they reached out, they tried to call her, they tried to text her, and no response.
And by the next morning, when Bonnie doesn't show up for work, her co-workers are alarmed by something they see in the parking lot.
Her red Chevy Avalanche was still parked at the nursing home, had not moved from the previous date. Windows had been down even during the overnight hours.
She loved that truck. Like, she worked really hard to get that truck. She absolutely loved it. So she wouldn't have just left it.
At that point, it was clear that there was something wrong. And Gary reported her disappearance to our department the morning of the 26th. When we work on the missing person and we're dealing with an adult, you have to keep in mind the possibility if they just want to take a break. They want to get away from family and friends, and that's natural. Also have to look into what's usual and what's their history.
Detectives assigned to the case soon learn that 47-year-old Bonnie Woodward is a force of nature.
Bonnie survived breast cancer. She was a fierce mother to 4 children.
Bonnie has 2 grown children from her first marriage, Joseph, who's 28, and Jennifer, 26. Bonnie is also mom to 2 stepkids, Heather and Aaron. She adopted them after their father, Bonnie's 3rd husband, passed away.
Heather was about 17 years old at this time, and Aaron was special needs, and she cared for him every day.
Bonnie is also a devoted grandmother. She grew up as one of 9 siblings, so she has a large, extended family. What kind of aunt was she?
She was the aunt that took a second to actually listen to you if something was going on.
And she had a big personality.
Oh, yeah, no, huge personality. Very loving. Her house is where a lot of the cousins all congregated. She had this little case in her living room, and she'd have little figurines and random stuff that had dolphins on it. None of it made sense to me, but she loved them.
So she was the social hub.
Kind of, yeah. She kind of liked having everybody around.
So you knew something was really wrong?
Pretty much.
With the clock ticking, the Alton detectives start their missing person investigation where you'd expect, at the last place she was reportedly seen.
This is where Bonnie worked.
Yes, this Unismith nursing home.
And she was a very consistent employee.
Yes, didn't miss any work at all, and certainly wouldn't miss without calling in.
And so where was her car parked?
It was in the spots here.
And the windows were rolled down?
Yeah, windows were rolled down, so you would have to imagine that she expected to come back to the vehicle.
Back here, presumably no surveillance was captured.
No, at that time there was no surveillance back here that we could rely on.
Without any surveillance footage, officers are hopeful that Bonnie's car may actually give them some clues as to what may or may not have happened.
The vehicle, there's no significant damage to it or anything like that that would cause us any alarm. And upon looking at the inside, there was no evidence of a struggle. So we ended up having this vehicle towed to our police department, secured, until we could process it and also dust it for prints.
One of the early things was how Bonnie Woodward was really regular with cashing her paycheck. The day she disappeared was payday, and she would, every time she was paid on Fridays, she would take that check to the bank.
That was a ritual.
Ritual. The check never got cashed. She never went to the bank.
Nothing happened with any of her phone, social media, bank accounts, all went dead as of 4 p.m. that day.
And so then we have to look at what other troubles that she may have in her life. We have to look at prior relationships. We have to look at Gary Wilmarth, her current boyfriend.
And so what did you find when you dug into Gary's background?
Gary's got a colorful past. He's a convicted felon, and they've had some domestic issues.
And just for the record, sir, what is your name, your full name?
Gary, G-A-R-Y.
Okay.
Wilmarth, W-I-L-M-U-R-T-H.
Bonnie was the love of my life, and she was a good-hearted woman, and I mean, she put up with me, and I mean, that wasn't easy.
When Gary's talking to police, he tells them that they've been an on and off couple for about 7 years.
Everything good over the past 10 months between you two? Ever any arguments or fights or domestics?
Little money problem, you know, because construction's slow.
Right.
But we've been working it out.
I mean, I'm not a good boy. I mean, I've had a record myself in the past. I paid my time, and Bonnie knew that. Bonnie still loved me. She didn't care what I did in my past. And these cops sure did.
Have you heard anything from her at all since
Nothing.
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 Bonnie's daughter, Jennifer, alibied him at home.
And Gary was waiting for her to get home because
She said they were both there the whole day together.
And ultimately, he did end up doing a polygraph examination and passed it.
But as investigators start talking to Bonnie's co-workers, they learn she was last seen getting into a strange car with an unknown man.
I guess I had never seen the man before.
The police wondered, could Bonnie be having an affair? Or was it something worse?
Nothing is out of the realm of possibility. How did she know this person?
I mean, Mom had to have known the person she got into the car with.